Are we missing anybody?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yes?
here.
Okay, awesome, perfect. Thank you so much for being here on time, making sure that everybody is ready. Does everybody have their data binders for today?
Yeah, I got mine.
I
Yeah.
got
You
mine.
have your binders? Okay, good job. Thank you so much. So I just wanted to go ahead and get started, making sure we do review on our last PLCs, which was our first one when we established our norms, seeing how we were going to go ahead and structure our PLCs. So what is one of the things that we talked about? For example, the first thing that you did awesome today was coming on time, making sure that everybody, all your team members were here, and you had your data binders. What's another thing that we talked about having effective PLCs?
Being a respectful participant.
Being a respectful participant, that's very important. We do want to make sure that we give everybody time to go ahead and participate and give their opinions and anything that they find that needs improvement or that we can use for our goals today. What else?
Okay, so I took notes, and so just one of them that was discussed was to be flexible and reflective.
Reflective. Why is it important to be reflective? I like that. Flexible and reflective. Why reflective? Why is it important that we are reflective on our pedagogy, on our strategies that we're doing in our classroom, as well as our management?
We talked about how it's gonna make us better overall, and in the end benefit the students. If we reflect on what we did good and what we didn't do so well.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's get started. Today is July 27, 2016, and I want us to reflect on our scores. We did receive our scores this morning, and I want us to look at these percentages. We have 13, 14. Where do you believe that I got this data from? Where do you think I got this percentage from?
From the taper, correct?
Yes, correct. Our taper report. So do remember that that is a resource that you can use as well when you are planning your lessons. You know, it's very important that you do data analysis, and we do have our English 2 here, 2013, 2014 taper report, and we have a very low number of 41%. What do we notice for our 2014-2015 year?
You should got even lower.
It got lower, right? It's lower. It's at a 27%. And if we do our calculation, how many percentage points did we actually drop?
We went down to 14%.
14%. And why do you believe that's the cause?
There's a lot of factors. There's well, I can know this year we had 32 students who tested English 2. 4 of those were repeaters.
Okay, so
And then last year, do you remember, Ms. Barrera, how many we had test?
I think last year we actually ended up, because we did have a higher number of students come into the campus at the freshman level. So I believe we actually went up to maybe about, if I'm not mistaken, 46 students.
about 46 students, and that is for our 2014,
Right.
2015. So we went from 32 students to 46?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the factors, because we had a higher number of students enrolled in our special populations.
Okay, definitely. So that can be a factor. We had 32 students, we went to 46 students. Now, that is a significant drop from a 41% to a 27%, and that is why we are meeting here today, making sure that we are coming up with strategies, making sure that we go to the root cause of why we don't want to keep dropping that percentage. So today I want to go ahead and establish a goal and objectives to get us to a higher percentage for this year. So what do you believe that our goal should be? We are from 2013, 2014 at a 41%, and we are going up. We went down, from a 2014, 2015 to a 27%. So what is an ideal, realistic percentage that we can do?
Well, I want to say first, before we start discussing that, is let's make sure, again, just the norms, let's keep it positive. We all know we have those students who, there's those factors that we couldn't control, and we're gonna want to name those students and why they didn't pass. And let's just keep it positive. Not that they don't care or anything. Let's keep it positive and let's try to be productive here, I guess, with our goal.
And the other thing that I was thinking was there a change in teacher staff from 13, 14, 14, 15? And then also, was there a change in resources?
So we want to look at the teacher staff, correct?
Right.
Teacher staff, so that's one of the things that we do have to go ahead and look at. Teacher staff and
Resources.
resources. Very good job.
Right, because I'm just thinking, we had 32, we jumped up to 46, so I'm wondering if we were able to meet those 46 students' needs completely.
Okay.
I'm just thinking because that's a very big number to regress on.
Yes, that's correct. It was a big regression. So before we do establish a goal, is there any strategies that you believe based on these challenges that we can go ahead and work on? Just like Mr. Cifuentes says. So Mr. Cifuentes, let's go ahead and look at the strategies. I'm going to go ahead and allow all of you to go ahead and give input on strategies that you believe that can help our special population. So go ahead, sir.
Okay, so as the inclusion teacher, I do want to just note with this real quick, like Ms. Barrera, you were saying, I felt like we had way too many students in our inclusion courses. We have 10. That's a lot to serve for our special ed population. Like 10 in an inclusion class, that was too much. So I'm really hoping for this next year that, we allocated the resources, that we have more teachers, and that we're going to space them out a little more. At least cut that down to half, maybe have 5 students in the inclusion classes for our English. So some of the strategies that I saw, like in Mr. Gonzalez's class, if we look at the data, we break it down further. His students, he had a 50% pass rate in his English 2 class for his special ed students. And that was one of the smaller classes. There's only 5 students in that one, in the 7th period. And they all passed in that 7th period. And what he does a lot is he does a lot of Kagan strategies. And so do you guys know about Kagan?
Yes, of course. Kagan, that I have seen of the professor, he has structured groups, and I have seen him integrate technology. So they're very, very structured. They're very goal driven. So I think that's one of the important things that he does.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've seen like the way he sits them with their levels. It's not just about just grouping anyone or just making a seating chart. He really takes his time to put students where he thinks that they'll do well and learn. And he kind of builds a good culture in his class, period. I've seen that like the students feel safe there in that environment, and it fosters learning really well.
So definitely that's something that we should put up there to continue brainstorming how we can be able to offer that type of training to the teachers.
So,
and not just inclusion teachers, but all the teachers.
Yeah, I think Kagan would be really good for everybody.
Okay.
And then Ms. Bella and Mr. Cifuentes, the other thing as I was listening to Mr. Cifuentes, are the teachers following the IEP plans properly? That would be another factor to consider.
The IEP, definitely. So the IEP, we do need to make sure that all students are given that opportunity to meet their goals, and the teachers need to make sure that they're following their IEPs. Very good job.
Yeah,
so it's one thing that...
If we could put it down here as a factor, because I could just see like what Mr. Cifuentes was saying, teachers being overwhelmed with the number of students sitting in the classes. That might help us with our goal.
Yes. Okay. Do we have any other strategies?
Well, you said the Kagan. You did say infusing technology.
Technology.
So I would, yes, if you could put technology there.
Have you seen any teachers? Is there any data that shows like that shows like the teachers that were using technology?
Well, there's a lot of apps now that actually lends, it facilitates to students specifically, and it's that one-to-one. And, you know, it could help the student whether with reading or math, but I mean, we would need to do some research on that.
Yeah, we would. Let's make sure that the technology we're using, because I know like about Kahoot and stuff, but I may be a little bit confused like with the other inclusion teachers, like how are we going to use Kahoot for English and you know to build up their reading and writing skills, because that's pretty much all I know about technology. It'll be kind of tough. So can we get on that?